blind girl came to her neighbor's house to escape the rain, but the man took advantage of her and forced her into a corner. Realizing that the man was up to no good, the girl asked him to bring her a glass of water because she was thirsty. The old man did not think much about it, but in the gap, the girl fumbled and fled. The man found out and chased after her. Belén hid in a corner and escaped with her life. She used her pager to contact her boyfriend, Pablo. Luckily, Pablo arrived in time to take her back to his apartment and call the police. But it was late at night and there was only one officer on duty. The police said that the inspector would not come to work until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, but what Belén didn't know was that there was a tail following them into the house. The unknown is always the worst. While Pablo was getting a mattress from the utility room, a strange noise spread throughout the room. Sensitive Belén clearly senses that someone is around, but she can't see it. While trying to sense it, something unexpected happens. It was the neighbor's daughter, Tina, who told her that Pablo was a real monster. Not only did he kill Belén's sister, but her husband was also killed by him. When Belén didn't believe her, she threw out another bombshell. It turns out that Tina was one of Pablo's girlfriends who discovered his evil ways by chance. She said that there was a mysterious room in Pablo's house, which was full of pictures of Belén and her sister. If you still don't believe me, you can take the key and open it right now. With that, Tina pulled Belén to the door of a locked room. Belén didn't trust Tina's words and was ready to open the door to find out the truth. But at this critical moment, Pablo came back. Tina hid herself in a panic. Although Belén pretends to be calm, she is beginning to suspect something inside. In order to get to the bottom of the matter, the woman hid in the toilet. Ignoring the recovery period of the surgery, she removed the gauze from her eyes in advance. She opened her eyes violently. The blinding light caused her to feel pain. Yes, she could see, and Belén, who had regained her sight, couldn't rejoice before she carefully stepped out of the bathroom. At that moment, the mysterious room had been opened, and sure enough, it was filled with pictures of herself and her sister. It seems that everything Tina said was true, and Pablo was probably a psychopathic killer. Thinking about this, Belén felt a chill down her spine. She wanted to run away, but when she turned around, she saw Tina's corpse. Such a bloody scene. Belén covered her eyes with her hands. At that moment, Pablo approached her with a dagger in his hand and asked her why she had removed the bandages. Belén lied, saying she was just trying to see, but she couldn't see a thing. Half believing it, Pablo came forward to see for himself. The woman is terrified. A knife was pressed against her eyeball, but in order to survive, she had to ignore the fear. But a tear slips down her cheek and the man is suspicious, so he asks her why she's crying. Belén says that the botched surgery made her sad and wants Pablo to transport her to the hospital. The explanation is so perfect that Pablo believes it. In order to calm Belén down, he picks up the phone to connect her with a doctor, but the microphone is never even put to his ear. He lied that the doctor was not available and asked the woman to wait a little longer. Such a superb acting skills can't help but be admired. For a moment, Belén had no way out, so she followed the man to the kitchen, waiting for the other party to make tea for herself, not realizing that the man had drugged the cups. So she switched the cups while Pablo was getting something, but the ripples in the cup immediately exposed her. Pablo saw it and guessed that his girlfriend had probably regained her sight. He led Belén straight to a refrigerator and forced her to open it. Belén doesn't dare to resist, but does so. But what she saw in front of her startled her again. Inside the fridge lay the neighbor who had molested her. She was caught pretending to be blind. Pablo is no longer a soft touch. He's now completely torn off his disguise and chokes the woman with a loud rant. Finally, he reveals why he is the way he is. It turns out that Pablo is a marginalized person who has a very low sense of existence. His psyche became more and more twisted. He longed to be loved and needed. Only in the world of the blind would he be noticed. Belén and her sister have suffered from eye problems since they were children, and as they age, their eyesight fades until they are completely blind. That's what made them Pablo's targets. When his sister and his cornea transplant was successful, Pablo feared he was no longer needed, so he poisoned her to make her blind again. But Annie finally realized what he was doing, and Pablo, fearful of exposure, had Annie hand. After that, he meets Belén, who looks just like Annie, and learns that they are sisters. After learning that they were sisters, he decided to make them as dependent on him as Anne was, and in order to avoid any worries, he tried to take care of Belén's husband. Now that Belén has regained her sight, Pablo was so scared that he injected a blinding poison into the woman's body. When Belén woke up again, it was obvious that her eyesight was deteriorating rapidly. What's worse, Pablo wants to run away with her. Belén panicked. She locked the door while the man was getting out of the car and didn't wait for Pablo to react. She locks the other side and quickly starts the car to escape. But would she really get what she wanted? This woman is in deep shit. In order to avoid her boyfriend's pursuit, she was so nervous that she put her car in the middle of the road, successfully blocked the man inside. Helplessly, she had no choice but to abandon the car and run for her life, but the drug she injected gradually kicked in. And she was facing blindness again, so she had to run into an aunt's house. She was a kind blind woman, the only good person Belén had met in the area. When she realized she was in danger, she picked up the phone and called the police. But Pablo was right behind her, standing in the shadows. Belén is devastated. She holds up a fruit knife to keep the man away, telling her about Pablo's evil deeds and urging the old woman to call the police. But to her surprise, the news that the man had called the old woman Mom came as a shock to Belén. But she still had a small chance that her aunt would call the police to bring this monster to justice. She hoped that her aunt would call the police and bring this monster to justice. Even if Pablo is a pervert, he's still Andy's son. It's no one else's turn to judge him. The man was surprised to see that his mother had been pretending to be blind. Then he turned from surprise to anger, grabbed his mother by the neck, and injected her with a blinding drug. Apparently, the heartless Pablo has lost his humanity. When Belén wakes up from her coma, the man is wiping the syringe. As it prepares to blind Belén. Belén was so scared that she thought of a brilliant idea to get out of there alive. She embraced the man while she was nauseated. She embraced the man in a nauseating embrace. And then, while he was still alive, she pulled out his knife and stabbed him. Pablo crumbled in agony on the floor, and the woman took advantage of the situation to escape from the basement. But the whole house was locked up by Pablo. In a panic, a landline came into view, so Belén immediately called the police. But before she could finish her sentence, Pablo broke into the house. At the last minute, Belén pulled the plug. They fought in the darkness. In the nick of time, the police arrived. Countless guns were pointed at Pablo in the corner. Pablo knew he had committed a terrible crime. He chose to kill himself. The scene changes to the hospital. Belén's eyes were saved in time, but there was no more light in her world. This movie is Los Ojos de Julia. Julia and Sarah Belén Rueda are twins, two beautiful sisters in the prime of their lives, who were suffering from a degenerative disease 1 year ago. Sarah lost her eyesight completely, and Julia's eyesight is fading. One dark night, Sarah had herself. Sensing something was going on, Julia felt uneasy, and the next day, she and her husband, Isaac Louis Homar, drove to their sister's house, where they were greeted with incredibly sad news. However, it seems that Sarah did not commit suicide, and that she was accompanied by a mysterious man during her last moments of life. This is Seahorse Movie. Goo 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 goo.